Do you have this strong intuitive feeling that you are just destined to build a business and a life that stands out amongst the rest, but you just don't know how to get there? I feel you. I've been there, and I can see that you are another fellow flamingo just waiting to take flight. My name is Megan Shallow, social media guru and founder of BNL Media Consulting, and this is exactly what I have done through building my own beautiful empire that has become a unicorn in the social media management world, as well as a safe space for entrepreneurs to feel empowered with their digital marketing. All of this was founded on the basis of 3 magical words: breathe, nourish, and love. Are you ready to learn how to be that entrepreneur who shows up online and offline with confidence, has a business that makes an impact in this world, and lives a life full of connection, love, prosperity, and joy? If the answer is yes, then let's go. Okay, welcome back to Fly Flamingo Fly, everyone. And today we are talking about AI, of course, because it's AI month here at BNL, and systems, because that's actually the most important part. And I feel where most people need to use AI like ASAP. With BNL right now, we've been using like AI to practice creating content and stuff like that. It goes against a lot of what I love if it's like trying to fake a person, but if I get to animate myself and create animation versions of BNL, I'm like super stoked on AI. But for me, being not a systems queen like you, Jasmine, I'm gonna hand it over to you to introduce you and how bad systems came to be and how you've fixed everyone's bad systems with AI. So on the floor, and then we're just going to ask a bunch of questions. So welcome, Jasmine. Thank you so much for coming, and tell us a little bit about your love for what you do. I'll go from there.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Megan. Thanks for having me here. Yeah, so my name is Jasmine Bayani. You can call me Jazz. So I like to call myself a systems engineer. I'm also an entrepreneur. I own 2 businesses. One is Bad Systems. It is a systems automation and AI agency. And then I also co-founded a marketing agency that's AI empowered called Grow Wild Agency. And yeah, so I like my love for technology really started very early on. My one of my uncles, he's so funny, but he's also so bright. He does coding, and I was just so fascinated about computers. And then yeah, fast forward with school, I actually took up cognitive systems. So even the term like systems was already in like my degree. So it was very interesting to like land like onto a business that says bad systems.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. Life has just a funny way of leading us to where we're supposed to be, right?
Seriously. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So with cognitive systems, it talks about like the psychology, computer science, basically the human brain and also the artificial brain. And I've always been fascinated about like people's psychology and like why we decide on things, why like we move the way we move and all that. And so adding like technology into the mix, it's magic. And yeah, so like I often refer to myself as a systems engineer. So basically, I'm someone who designs, builds, and manages very complex systems in the business. So it ensures that like everyone works in sync and efficiently and effectively. Because in a business, obviously, when you're building a team, there's going to be different brains in the company. And even though we can communicate in like language, sometimes there's a lot of things that are lost in translation. We have different ways of communicating and all that. And systems really smoothens the process so that everyone is on the same page. There's no repetition of conversation. And yeah, like making sure that even if someone takes a day off or the business doesn't fall apart, especially as a business owner, right? You want to be able to like we got it into the business not to work 24/7, even though sometimes, especially at the beginning, we tend to overwork ourselves. But to me, my belief is just working longer hours than usual is just a phase, and we shouldn't be stuck in that phase. And the way for us to get out of that phase as business owners is to set up systems for the business so that it operates without us or with minimal supervision, and so that we also trust our team to operate alongside like the company standards. So yeah, I'm very passionate about that. And yeah, with saving time as well, there's a lot of tools now in AI to save time and all that, but I think we should still be very much aware of like why do we need to save time in certain things? Like especially with a marketing agency like designs, right? There's so many designs that are popping up, but like at some point there's going to be like so many repetitions of the same like similar designs. So even with AI coming up with so many like design tools that we didn't really think could be replicated by AI before, we still need that human intervention to splash that or sprinkle that like uniqueness. And like the AI outputs are only as good as the human prompts. Yeah, that's in a nutshell, yeah.
And yeah, AI is such an interesting thing. And I think I've noticed even in conversations with my clients, they're just downloading all the tools and
Yeah.
there's so many AI tools out there now that are promising everything and anything. But
Yeah.
it's the actual implementation of the tool that's like the biggest hiccup. It's okay, here's
Yeah.
the tool that I bought. Can you use it? And I'm like,
Yeah.
no, maybe, probably not. Like you're talking to the wrong gal. So as you've been scaling bad systems and like incorporating more AI, what are you finding like the biggest themes of what's really moving the dial for people using that technology?
I think really with the processes, and obviously there's some processes that are standard with certain industries. Let's say with a service-based industry, there's always going to be like a sales process, a discovery call, like an onboarding process and all that. And let's say like a marketing agency is so different from an accounting firm, the way that they onboard things. It's still standard. You still have similar pipelines, right? So those are like one of the like processes that are often mislooked at in terms of automating it and using AI for it. A lot of business owners and businesses that I've seen are still using like manual because they said they want to make it personal. And then that's like sucking a lot of like their time because like they want it to be personalized. And when we talk about like automation and AI, it doesn't have to be robotic. Like obviously when you ask ChatGPT, hey, write me like an onboarding like email, obviously it's gonna spit out like a very generic one. But if you actually feed it into like your brand details and how you want to sound and all that, then it can actually give you a more aligned email or your voice, whatever you're prompting it to do. And yeah, that's the thing that people are scared to use more of AI, even though there's a lot of tools and like a lot of people are still dabble into it. But it's crazy how like they're dabbling into it, but they're not implementing it. So there's a big kind of gap in that. They're like, oh, new shiny object, like shiny object syndrome, right? Like when someone says, this is an AI tool that will solve all your problems. And a lot of claims with that, but it's also due diligence of whoever's using it, whether you're like an employee or like a business owner, as long as you belong to a certain institution or like a group, right? It's also part of your due diligence to see like how that AI is operating. And there's so many like different things of AI, right? There's like the ethics part of it of okay, there are tools now that you can clone your voice and all that, but you also have to think about okay, if you're able to give your voice and consent to using your voice using that AI tool, you have to be aware of like how that AI company is using your data so that you know that you're protected. Like even with like Meta, right? Like with all our data is shared there and there's a couple of things of like breach and data selling and all that. And we don't really know till like I don't know how old Facebook is right now, but like more than
Old.
10 years. So we don't know the repercussions of our actions now that we're dabbling into AI. So I think really mindful use of AI is still very much encouraged and like thinking about the ethics of it and all that. But yeah, like it's always exciting to test out new things. But at the end of the day, like these things are still tools and you still need to be able to connect it with your company's ecosystem. Like, how is it being used by your whole team? Like, for example, if you're using ChatGPT with yourself, like, you're still like manually putting chatting with ChatGPT, right? Like, how do you integrate that into your communication with your team so that you don't need to copy paste what ChatGPT outputted to you and then bring it to the team. Otherwise, it's just like another tool and another added layer of complexity to your whole ecosystem. So I think being able to pay attention to how your tools are giving you the output and how that output is being integrated into your processes, your workflow, so that whatever AI tool you're using is actually effective and make you more efficient than just making you just added complexity in your day-to-day work.
Yeah. Chat, I have two avenues. I'm like, which one do I want to go to first? Yeah, ChatGPT, I would say, is the most common AI tool now. Like, I feel every business is using it. Of course, probably mostly to supplement their marketing. Amazing. Because like even I as a copywriter, some days I'm just like, oh, thank goodness for this tool. I can like word vomit what I want to say. And then I'm like, please make this make sense. With ChatGPT, like for us at a marketing side of things, like we've been creating custom GPTs for our clients so that we can have like within the team different areas and different voices depending on what's needed, and it can be delegated much easier. With call it like let's choose an industry. I don't know, like a bookkeeping company or even an accounting company. What would you support them in creating for like when they're using ChatGPT? What does that system look like for them, and how would you support them in like leveling up using it?
Yeah, so like with that, there's a lot of like kind of details in terms of accessing like CRA accounts and like all that. There's a lot of like SOPs that could be done that's usually routine every month, every quarterly that they can like inform their clients, especially let's say they're onboarding a new client and that client is pretty much like new to CRA and all of the logins and all that. They're able to create an SOP, like self-writing SOP in like the conversations that are having with themselves and their team, because there's always going to be new changes, new updates and all that. And with running like a bookkeeping or like accounting business, this is very focused on like accuracy. And if your attention is elsewhere, it's not going to be good in terms of like making sure that your clients are well taken care of. And just sometimes we are like executive like function overload, right? We're thinking about so many things that we can't decide on things, or there's certain things that we're doing, but we do it repeatedly because we don't take the time to just pull whatever we have processes and then document that. And so there's a lot of tools that could be done with that so that not only like internally we get informed, but also like our clients get informed, like accessing to uploading files securely, making sure that like you submit the files like on time and all that. And then that applies to like multiple industries, but especially with bookkeeping and like accounting, that's very specific because of the security that's needed, the level of security that's needed, because you're talking about like finances and all that for that industry. And so you need to be like very careful with how you do things. And when you do things, especially when you're like growing a team, right? Maybe as a business owner, you know everything, but like when you're onboarding, let's say a new bookkeeper or a new accountant, they may have a general like idea of how the processes are, but obviously every business is different. Like how you access files, you should be able to share it with a client, but making sure that the security of what you're sharing, if someone has that link, no one else can access that. And those are like the very tiny things that sometimes gets mislooked and like, overlooked and all that. And yeah, and a lot of those things that could be just written by an AI like SOP, and then maybe have a custom GPT, right, that they can create so that when someone in their team is asking for a resource, hey, like someone is asking this about CRA or whatnot, and then I need access to this, or I need information on how to get to that document. Because honestly speaking, like the government platforms aren't really the easiest platforms to navigate. And even if you search, oh, how do you like get to this page, and you get taken to like different routes, right? But someone in your company has already cracked the fastest way to get there. And it's just more so like sharing that information within the team, and obviously sharing that to your clients so that they can give you the information that you need like at like by the deadline that you set.
I love this because I feel like decision fatigue, especially for call them managers and founders, depending on how big the company is, can sometimes just be questions being asked that you're just like, oh my gosh, do I have to answer this one more time? I'm in between. This is taking energy from my brain that I shouldn't be having to do, even though, of course, like we all love to help our staff. But if there was a custom GPT that had all the SOPs for that specific sector of the company, that would be amazing. Okay. Love this. Because everyone, of course, we use ChatGPT to make us better writers, but there's actually a place where a company could have pay for the pro account. The custom GPTs, and all of them are like labeled for different departments. My labeling skills, I need to adjust those in my GPT. But how would you, let's say, I don't know, like a consultant of any kind? My sister's a sleep consultant, so let's use that.
Yeah.
How
Okay.
does she map out? And she actually has HIPAA compliance and stuff like that she has to keep an eye on. So she can't use GPT for everything.
Mhm.
But like, how would you map out like a GPT for a consulting firm that's like in the health space?
So does she record the calls?
I think right now, no, but if it is, it's all through Jane.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not particularly familiar with the like with HIPAA, but like when I'm using like the HIPAA compliant like forms.
Mhm.
So with the forms, you're able to obviously make sure that the form platform that you're using is HIPAA compliant, also like SOC 2 and all that, making sure that data security is set. But like with let's say I would always say like the conversations is where the meat is of the content and like SOPs and everything. Because we spend a lot of time talking to people, right? Whether it's our clients, whether it's like our team, and sometimes even with a note taker, they'll just like send us an email of, hey, these are this is like the summary, this is transcript and all that. And then there's always still like that manual requirement to go into that platform, look through it, copy it, paste into a document, and all that. So, what I've started to implement with our company and also like in other in our clients is that when they have recorded meetings on whatever they're using Fathom AI, Otter Note Taker, and all that, it gets automatically pushed into like the OpenAI. So basically in not just ChatGPT itself, but like the OpenAI. So we're using like token-based analysis for that specifically transcription, and then you can tell it to output different ways. So hey, like output this so that in you we already know like what the deadline is based off of the conversation, put like sections of all of that so we don't need to like manually take it, and you can like have that for different kinds of clients, have different like structures of how you want the output of the conversation to be. And what's great about it as well, you can also prompt it to send to your social media manager, like, hey, these are the points of the conversation. Just tell the open AI to say, hey, don't include any like information about the company that we mentioned that not to get disclosed and all that. And it just sends like a very filtered content to your social media manager focusing on, oh, I want to focus on talking about like systems for marketing agencies, and then that gets sent to them. So instead of you copy and pasting, like putting it in the document and sending to them, the OpenAI is just doing it for you and just sends it to them, and then it's like a whole living beast basically of moving the content, the data into different departments so that you don't really lift a finger and all of that.
So you've said two things, and I'm like, how does one set that up? So things, I'm like, what? I'm like, I know when I look at ChatGPT's like URL or whatever, it's like
Yeah.
OpenAI.gpt, and I just obviously just goes right over my head. I'm like, that's cool. Is it the same? Obviously not. So how does one work with OpenAI
Mhm.
outside of ChatGPT? And then also, what are tokens?
Yeah, for sure. So OpenAI, so like obviously we have the pro subscription for ChatGPT. That's basically almost unlimited like chats and all that. But with that, you have to be manually there.
Yes.
With OpenAI, you have the option to not be there. So that's like the biggest difference because like you've once you've already set that like the prompts, it'll just do it for you. And instead of with that, it's more so like use case basis, the way that it charge you through like tokens, and then it's something about like point one or point zero something dollars. So it's not really a lot, but it you're also able to like limit how many tokens you want. So let's say like you're wanting to have an output for your social media manager that's maybe like 5,000 words. So you get to set that maximum of 5,000 words and all that so that you don't go over the limit and you like it doesn't overcharge you. You know exactly what is being allocated. But if it's like just a meeting recap of the team members, maybe you can just reduce that to like, hey, let's play around with 2,000 words for that. But with that, you're able to connect it with different kinds of tools. So let's say you connect that from the Fathom AI note taker. So whatever your conversation is, it gets feeded into OpenAI with your prompt and it gets filtered and outputted. And you have the option to put that either in Google Docs, Notion, your Slack channels, and different kinds of outputs depending on like where you want it to go. And you can even like this is like the next level, but in your document, you can actually say, hey, create a task on Asana, create a task on like your whatever project management you're using so that you don't need to like do it yourself. Like
Oh my
basically you're
God.
just from a conversation, you're just like, okay, AI, tell ChatGPT or tell OpenAI to create these into like tasks, and I'll do that for you. Yeah, so powerful like that. So when we talk about systems, it's like the complexity of using different tools and minimizing the manual intervention for that. So there's a lot of like possibilities that could be done with it. And yeah, it's just like basically exercising like our imaginations and actually having more conversations to let's say, okay, let's use AI in a more efficient way, not just like to improve our writing skills, but also reduce the mental fatigue that we're experiencing. Because instead of like manually reviewing your like transcript, which is sometimes if you're talking for over an hour, you have to review the whole transcript or even the summary. It's just, okay, yeah, this is a summary, but this is not the exact summary that I want. But with like OpenAI, you get to customize what kind of summary you wanted and what kind of sections you're looking for within the conversation. So instead of copying and pasting that whole transcript to ChatGPT and say, hey, like I want this, you're actually set that system up one time and it'll outputs every time that you need it.
Wild.
Yeah.
Pretty much like every time I'm like, okay, what an amazing concept.
Yeah.
And I'm not an implementer, so I'm like, I'm one of the ones, a lot of entrepreneurs, it's like you got 50% of entrepreneurs that are like amazing at implementing,
Yeah.
and you got 50% who are like, let us just stay in the clouds and
Yeah.
enjoy our creativity and like fingers
Yeah.
crossed everything works out. Yeah, I'm still the person that loves a manual email schedule. Like
Yeah.
I have tried to do Calendly so many times. And I have a really hard time of letting go of control of my calendar. And then also, yeah, oh gosh, just like so many things that I know if you were to look, you'd be like, you really do not need to be doing that. Even scheduling this podcast, we all know what that could have been a system. That needs to be a system. With OpenAI, so do you like, is it like openai.com and you can set it up and all of that? So it's separate from ChatGPT. You have a separate account or it's underneath your ChatGPT account?
It's underneath the same account. Essentially, it's the same email, and then you just create like you get a token, you connect that with your backend. It's like an API. So basically, it's a documentation of like how the data is being called, being outputted, and all that. Yeah, and anyone can access that. And yeah.
So what are you finding? Because obviously you're like in front of the wave of, especially for small, medium-sized business that are like needing to delegate this out because their internal team is not ready for this usually. Unless
Hmm.
a startup tech company, then yeah, they're all
Yeah.
over. What do you notice where there's resistance
Mm.
for this conversation? It's like people come to you, I'm assuming, knowing I know I need this, but what do I do? So anyhow, what is the resistance? Because I know I have resistance to it, even though I know I need
Yeah.
it, because my brain is, you do not need to be pressing these buttons.
I think by human nature, like humans are just very much resistant to change, and that's always going to be that case. There was a book that I read during university. It's an actual required. It's called Only Humans Need Apply. So it talks about like how the job market is going to shift throughout the next couple of years, and it truly has like the analysis of like data, like uh, as much as we want to analyze data ourselves, like honestly, AI is much faster. So we have to really pinpoint what we're really good at as humans versus what AI can do much faster. And yeah, so basically, like in the book, it says that tasks like analysis of the, let's say, the medical charts would be given to an AI, and they would able to analyze that a lot faster than like having a backlog of like files that need to be analyzed. But humans are still needed in order to console other humans in terms of, hey, like this is the results of like your charts and all that. And obviously the in terms of getting better and all that, it's a mix of like science of like our physical bodies, our mental and all that, but it also there's also studies that like how we feel and like how we're being taken care of is also a factor to like people getting better or having the will to get better. And so as humans, we're like really created to talk about and console other humans. And so similar parallel to like with the changes in the workflows and processes and all that, people are still gonna get very scared of the implementing or being like stuck with the manual work because it feels like when you it's like an illusion of having control. So when you're doing manual stuff, you feel like it's very comforting because you know exactly what's happening. And also people resist that because systems take a lot of energy upfront to create. So it's, oh, I'm defaulted to like just doing it manually myself. So like why can't I just keep on doing it? And so that's why there's like consultants, like AI and automation systems consultants like myself, to walk through people in that change, to say, hey, it's okay. We don't need to go from 0 to 100 and like what you're used to, but little by little, we're able to move you away from an operator to actually a CEO with a strategy and all that. And when it comes to systems, AI, and automation, the goal really is to focus on what you want to do best, what you're excited to do, instead of if you're, let's say, excited to just chat to someone and say, "Hey, when are you available?" And that doesn't mean that's not efficient. Maybe that's just you practicing that, hey, you want to create that conversation and create that build that relationship than just throwing a calendar link to someone, right? But yeah, that's like your conscious decision to do that. But if a decision that you're making to keep manual work is causing you like stress and causing your team stress. Let's say, for example, someone in your team needs like a code for like access, like an SMS or like an email code and all that. Like, that's not necessary. You're not building like your relationship with your team with that. It's just like a transactional like work or task that needs to be done, right? So you don't need to manually do that. You can automate that in a different way. But when it comes to like conversations, like a podcast and all that, you can't really automate like those things. You can't really automate like sharing your experiences and all that. But yeah, so like in terms of saving time and everything, like you have to ask yourself like what is the purpose of saving like this time? Are you actually saving time to do the things that you love to do, or are you saving time because you're ignoring certain things that need to be done in the business? Yeah, and are you when you use like AI and automation other tools, are you still like like embracing your own uniqueness? And when I say your own uniqueness, it's not just about yourself, but also like your company, what you stand for, and everything that you make it up to be. Yeah.
Ooh, I love all of this conversation because I'm all about like human real connection and all of
Yeah.
that stuff. And yeah, the question of what are you avoiding?
Yeah.
Doing the manual stuff. I'm gonna
Yeah.
put it out there. Every single entrepreneur who's listening to this right now is being probably seen and a little bit thrown under the bus. What are you avoiding? Um, I know that one. Let me manual post something. It just brings
Yeah.
me so much joy. And I'm like, is it joy or are we avoiding something else that you actually
Yeah.
be doing to move the dial right now?
Yeah.
It took me like, yeah, it took me 2 years to allow automated posts in the company. Like
Yeah.
later.com was there, it allowed
Yeah. Yeah.
automation. I could not let it go for 2 years. And this was back in like 2017. Oh man. And then as soon as I did, I'm like, what was I thinking? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, goodness. And you're right. Like even the codes thing in like a marketing agency world, we all two factors everywhere now.
Yeah.
But I know when my staff ask me, they hate having to ask me because they know I'm like the last thing that
Yeah.
my brain is able to do is stop everything and get a code from one of the, whether it's
Yeah.
which app, authenticator app, like Gmail, like my
Yeah.
Outlook authenticator, like texting,
So
email, like all of these things. And I'm like, I just have to find it. And it's a whole 15-minute thing. And I'm stressed by the end. And the whole, and then now I have to go into another meeting.
here's a tiny tip for
Yeah,
the
everyone.
codes. Yeah, probably 80 to 90% of the software out there is using like the authenticator app because it's a lot easier. Because like when you opt in for like SMS, maybe you're out of the country, you don't have access to your like SMS and all that in or emails. So what you do is that when you get prompted to set up an authenticator app, it'll show you a QR code to scan to your authenticator app. So what you do is you save that QR code. Don't just go next. Save that and then put that somewhere that's secure so that whenever there's a new team member that comes in, it's and they need access to that on a regular basis, you send them that QR code and then they scan that QR code so that they get an authenticator app that gives them that code instead of you always giving them that code because it'll only show it to you once when you set it up, but if you actually screenshot that or save that as a PDF and tuck it somewhere where you're able to again like your onboarding process with your new employee or whatnot, they're able to okay, this is everything that I need to access in terms of the authenticator. So they have that ready and handy. And usually what in terms of if you want to go a step further in security, they have to save it not in their personal email authenticator, but in your company email authenticator so that you still have that localization of that security code that is needed. Yeah.
Hot tip, everyone. Two-factor does not have to be the most dramatic thing in the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
And you made a really good point, which I love because like I don't love being in my analytical brain, but I will find myself happy there if I'm
Mhm.
stressed. So if I'm
Yeah.
stressed, I'm like, let's dive into all of this manual things and do all the things that the computer could do. And that's like a safe place because then I don't have to feel what I'm feeling, maybe. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but where we're going as entrepreneurs, as business owners, even as like people scaling up their careers, we actually won't have to be stuck in our analytical brain so much because we have AI helping us there. So we
Mhm.
actually can lean into more human connection and things that humans are able to do because we don't have to be the machines
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah.
So that can be uncomfortable for a lot of people,
Mhm.
especially entrepreneurs and people who are scaling big businesses and all of that. How would you support people to one, let go and trust that like AI can be helpful? And then how do you adjust when you don't have to be in the analytical brain so much? Like, what do you notice?
What I usually say is history repeats itself. AI is here and there's a lot of resistance, but so did a lot of newer inventions before. So when internet came about, people were like, what is this internet? Like you can search whatever you want on the internet. Then came like the social media platforms. What do you mean that you can have new friends online? You don't need to meet them in person to like all that. And one of my favorite examples is the BlackBerry downfall. It's not because of the downfall itself, but it's because Apple and iPhone have embraced the touch screen technology. Even Samsung and like Nokia and all that have shifted from a keypad phone to like a screen phone. Whereas BlackBerry, they're like, okay, we're gonna stick there. Like you don't really see BlackBerry now. They're not even probably in the top five brands of phones that you're seeing. And I would say with the resistance, just start with curiosity of what is possible. Because like, I think a lot of people are like they think about the worst and of it and oh, I don't want to give everything because like they might take over and all that. But maybe I'm even like with me, I'm not sure if they're gonna take over or not. Like on just honestly speaking, like just take the precautionary measures of like turn off in ChatGPT, don't use your data for like training and all that. And like a lot of make sure, I think with the fear, because there's a lack of understanding. So if you're really fearful of something that's going to move your business and yourself forward, just put into your to-do to learn more about it. Like, knowledge is power. If you are just like avoiding, oh, whatever, AI is like here, you're not gonna get ahead, or you're not gonna go with the flow if you're always like resisting. And yeah, so what was the other question?
When people have all this space now,
Yeah,
space, because AI saves so much mental space
yeah,
instead of filling it with more stuff. Like, how do you support clients to fill that with new things? Like now they
yeah,
have new spaces to work
yeah.
on. What does that usually look like?
Yeah, so with bad systems, bad meaning build, automate, and delegate, I always tell them to think about, okay, what are you building? How can we automate it? And then how can we delegate it? Either to yourself, to technology second, to your team last. And within the bad systems framework, there's also like the main categories of the business that I like to use as an example. So, five main categories: your business development system, your acquisition system, which involves your marketing, sales, and all that, fulfillment system, which involves client care and all that, and then culture and finance. And so, because AI is allowing us to free up our time with that, with less analysis, more like, I guess, visionary and more forward thinking and how to make things better, you have to look at like your different buckets in your business. Because if you're always just focused on one bucket, let's say like revenue and all that, but you're not focusing on, are you taking care of your clients well? Are you taking care of your team? That's like part of culture. Are you taking care of your finances? Maybe you're hitting like 50,000 like a month, but like your like net profit is so low because you haven't been like looking or reviewing with your bookkeeper or accountant. So with that space, you get to decide on like where do you put your efforts into. You actually have the time to step back and say, hey, this is my business. These are the main buckets in my business. How can I, better myself and the whole business by looking at each of those buckets and making sure that each bucket is being taken care of, or at least they're in a healthy state or mode. And you wouldn't really get to do that if you're so like into the weeds of being an operator, being in the weeds of doing manual things. Like, we're always striving for growth. And you also have to ask yourself, what kind of growth do you want? Is it just like the growth of having more revenue? What about the growth of being a better leader? What about the growth of being a better service provider? And because AI helps us with a lot of research and all of that, gives us that space to be more human. Those questions aren't like an AI can answer. Even if you throw it to ChatGPT, hey, how can I be a better leader and all that, you know yourself what would, it can only give you insights, but you have to decide what kind of leader do you want to become? What kind of service provider do you want to become? What kind of person do you want to become? And that's really why AI is there. It helps us to have a second brain without stretching ourselves too much. It allows us to use technology, utilize AI so that we as humans reach our fullest potential, because we're not going to be burnt out. Like, as long as we use the proper ways of using technology, that is like a step that helps us to not be burnt out.
This is going on a quote card that came out of you. Space to be more human.
Yeah.
Ooh, mic drop. That's so good.
Yeah.
True. Like,
Yeah.
just don't need to be operating things.
Mm.
Don't have to. Could, but don't have
Yeah.
to. There's so many
Yeah.
other opportunities out there. And before I'm like, oh, we're having fun. So I don't know where time goes once I do these. Before we close up, I'm wondering if you have a favorite case study that
Hmm.
you've done that just like lights you up and like you've just seen it work some serious magic when someone
Yeah.
took a leap of faith and decided to fix their bad systems with that.
Oh, there's a lot. I'll go with something that's simple and I'll go with something that's a bit more complex.
Amazing.
So with businesses that are starting, really what you want, especially if you're a solo like business owner with maybe a small team or like just an assistant or even just yourself, ChatGPT as an assistant, you need to know what your working style is, what lights you up, what you're good at, and identify what you're not good at so that you're prepping to delegate that in the near future and create systems before you delegate that. So let's say like you're someone who like has clients, you can't use your notebook forever. I know it's comfortable to write things. I have a couple of clients who like put them in their notes and then like it's all over the place. They have it on the pen and paper, they have it on the like notes app, they have it in ChatGPT, they have it in an Excel sheet, and then I ask them a simple question. What is your cost of acquisition? What is your how many contacts do you have? What is like warm leads? And they're like, I don't know that data. In order to get that data, you have to know that yourself, right? And so in order to get that data, you need to be organized of where you store that data. Because you can't analyze something that's not stored properly.
I feel very called out right now. As I'm like looking at my desk, I'm like, there is about 9 post-its here. That will be cleared out by the end of the day.
And that's okay. If you have
It's
written
where we all
stuff,
start.
yeah, that we start there. But the important thing is if we write something down, take a photo of it, put it on ChatGPT. It'll put that into a CSV file for you, put that into a project management for you. You don't need to manually write it down and then type it again somewhere. Just utilize everything that, you need because if you spend like a whole day like just organizing data, okay, like you already lost 1 day out of 5 days a week. What are you gonna do? Like work 24/7?
Oh
And
my.
and I'm talking from experience. I've had times when I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to do this manually because I'm the only one who could do this properly. But no,
Not true.
that's
It's not
such
true, everyone. It's
yeah,
not
such
true.
a big lie. So yeah, like having a proper CRM, just getting organized with your files, label them properly so that you're like, okay, where did I put this? Some people have a Google Drive, a OneDrive, a local drive in their computer, and they're like, where did I store this file? So yeah, just getting organized with your files and using a CRM, so a contact relationship management, so you are able to see properly your client database, your collaborator database, and all that.
What's your favorite CRM? I'm just gonna ask me, and I don't
Yeah.
use the CRM, which I know I should.
So there's a lot of common ones like HubSpot and all that, but my favorite one for small businesses is called Bravo. It starts off with a free plan, and the next tier plan is $9 a month. Perfect for, and it can actually access different sources of, let's say you have Instagram DMs, you have email, you have all that. It centralizes everything into the platform, and you can add that as contacts in there and actually create an automation sequence of
Oh,
emails.
bravo.
Brevo, Brevo. Yeah.
Huh. Never heard
Yeah.
that one. Love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Another favorite of mine is called Copper CRM. So it is powerful because it has a native integration with Google Workspace, with Gmail. So when you're in Gmail, it actually acts as like an on the side. You can like organize a lot of things there on the spot. Yeah.
And I know I'm digressing, but I'm like, why does everyone need a CRM? Basically, just say it. Say the
I'm so passionate that like I dropped something.
truth.
The mic drop.
Yeah. Because that's a part of, I feel like sales never gets, I know sales has never had a system, obviously, because I'm in charge of it. I haven't delegated it yet. So
Um,
why does everyone need a CRM? Give us your pitch right now. Everyone will get one tomorrow.
A CRM allows you to share the contact data with not just yourself, but with everyone else in your team. And you're able to automate other processes from data collection, if someone fills out the form, to the onboarding system of sending them an invoice, getting paid, and then getting them as a client. And yeah,
Just do it, everyone.
just do it. Just do it. It'll save you a lot of time and money, actually.
No
And
more manual proposals and invoices,
yeah.
people.
And also, two main things about that lead to speed. You're able to contact and re-engage with your lead much faster if you have a CRM. And there's also the notion of data reactivation. So even if you've inputted or someone has inquired from you like 6 months ago, a few months, a year ago, you're able to reach out to them again and see. And yeah, we've had like multiple success with not just ourselves, but like in like our clients who've that added like at least 30,000 in revenue because they've used the CRM properly. So if you want more 30,000, if you want additional 30,000 or whatever amount your services cost to you, then use a
Get the
CRM.
CRM and then
Start
use
there.
it properly.
Yes, exactly. Don't just
Don't just
abandon
get it.
Yeah.
Don't just add it to your tech stack, people.
Actually use it.
Yeah. Evaluate your tech stack and actually use everything that's in it. Every subscription needs to be used, otherwise it has to get gone.
Yeah. And then just like a very quick thing for a more complex one. We actually had recently a PR feature on like CEO Weekly that talks about the content flywheel about PR. So we're actually extracting data from like SEMrush, which is an SEO data rankings and all that, and through AI in our system, we're able to extract what are the most asked questions, what are the keywords that are intent for buying and all that. And then that informs the creation of the blogs and PR articles that will rank very well for multiple businesses. But yeah, you don't need to like really manually do the research. It'll do it for you, and yeah, you can actually do that in your company. Even if you're not like a marketing agency, you can do that and start pitching to different kinds of PR and even use that as social media content.
Because now we all know SEO and Google and
Yeah.
social media is really integrating and will continue
Yeah.
to integrate even more in
Yeah.
I would say within the next year.
Yeah, you want to be ranking on like ChatGPT and all that, not just like Google, because the game has changed and people are not just searching on Google, they're or Bing or whatever. They're searching on ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity and all that. And if you're not on there, there's like less chance of you getting seen.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
we don't want that.
Yeah.
So for small businesses, of course, like I feel like you're the same. I have a soft spot for small business.
Yeah.
I love every small business owner so much. Like I wouldn't be the business owner I am if small business owners didn't trust me.
Yeah.
And yeah, like the market, like AI is actually can help small businesses win in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
In
It's
ways
leveling the
that
playing field for sure.
totally, yeah, because you don't have to hire the big macho agencies in order
Yeah.
to get some of this like very foundational stuff anymore.
Yeah.
So small business owners should be diving in head first into AI, but also call the gifted people that know how to do it. Jasmine, for you, do you do consulting and system like implementation? So is that what do you do? Yeah, share everyone what Bad Systems is, how they can work with you, and also where they can find you.
Yeah, so you can find us on Instagram, badsystems.co, and also our website is badsystems.co. Basically, we do implementation, we do a lot of projects, but also a lot of retainers. But I love consulting, especially with businesses that really need it. I'm very much an open, I will tell you very honestly what you're missing and all. That's like my approach, but like in a very caring way, because the last thing that I want you to experience is burnout, because I've burned out twice, and I do have a soft spot for business owners who are just trying to do good and do their passion and just need a little bit more breather to really grow and scale their business.
Amazing. And yeah, and you can find her on LinkedIn too. We'll put all the things in the
LinkedIn as well, Jasmine Bayani. But yeah.
And Jasmine, where are you located again?
I'm in Vancouver.
Okay.
Yeah. But I travel throughout. I was in Mexico just recently, and California is really good. I like that too. But yeah, if you want me to meet you at, I don't know, Montreal or something.
It's a business write-off.
It's a business.
Yeah, any excuse really. Okay, everyone.
Yeah.
So we're happy to do it as digital
Yeah.
nomads. And yeah, so I'll leave it with stay open to AI, recognize the resistance, but keep turning towards it anyway. And I really love the, like, it allows us to be more human. And I think we all deserve to start really stepping into that. We are moving into, I feel the world is leveling up in a consciousness. And if we have levels of consciousness, there is this new level that everyone is rising up into. And it's because we're allowed to be more human. Less button pushing. So yeah, lean in, ask the questions, take the precautions, and of course, reach out to Jasmine because she'll be able to hold your hand and your heart as you navigate the crazy world of technology and AI. Thank you, Jasmine, so much for coming on. And I look forward to, I am assuming, having you here again. I love having guests back, and because there will always be updates and always conversations. And I don't know how to have these ones. So I'm really grateful for you and for everyone else out there that loves this convo. And we'll chat again soon. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of Fly Flamingo Fly with BNL. We are so grateful you stopped by, and we hope that something from today's conversation ignited the inspiration you were looking for so that you can keep moving forward towards the life of your dreams. This podcast was produced by BNL Media Consulting with the amazing help of Podigy Podcasts. We'd love to hear your takeaways from this episode, so be sure to leave us a review, as well as give us a follow on Instagram at BNL Social. If you need any help with your social media marketing, feel free to visit our website at www.bnlmediaconsulting.com, and we would be more than happy to support you. We hope you have an amazing day, and we cannot wait to connect with you again next time. Have a good one, everyone.